It's an age-old question that can be asked about nearly any sci-fi franchise. Is there sound in space? At a glance, it seems like there is sound in space in Star Wars, but is there really? Obviously, we, the audience, hear sound, but do the characters? There are three possibilities that I'm going to talk about in this video. But first, we need to understand what sound is and how sound in space works. Simply put, sound is a vibration through a medium. We most commonly experience this as a vibration in the air, with the air being the medium. Sound can also travel through any matter, such as water or any solid materials. The key here is that sound needs a medium, and cannot propagate through a vacuum, such as outer space. I should clarify, though, that although sound can't travel through space itself, as long as you are somewhere with an atmosphere, such as inside of a ship, you will hear sound, just not from outside the ship. For instance, you'll be able to hear the engines of the ship, and even things like weapons firing from or hitting the ship. You just won't be able to hear these things from other ships. In Star Wars, though, sound can be heard from other ships, even when separated by a vacuum. This gives us three possibilities. 1. Sound can travel through space and the characters can hear it. 2. Sound doesn't travel through space and is simply there for the audience's benefit. Or 3. The sound is artificially produced in-universe. The first possibility, that sound can in fact travel through the vacuum of space, doesn't really work. Here's why. Stars. It's been estimated that if sound could travel through space, the sound of the sun would be 100 decibels from the surface of the Earth. That's about as loud as a helicopter, and loud enough to begin causing permanent hearing loss after only about 15 minutes. If sound could travel through space in Star Wars, most planets would have constant, ear-shattering noise. Everyone in Star Wars would be deaf. This obviously isn't the case, so one of the other two possibilities must be true. The second possibility is that the sound is simply there for the audience's benefit, and that the characters don't hear it. This might sound like a silly retcon, but if you think about it, it makes sense. I mean, it's not like the characters can hear the music, right? If they can't hear the music, is it really much of a stretch to say that they can't hear certain sound effects as well? Really, the only evidence against this would be if a character reacted to a sound they shouldn't be able to hear, and I can't think of a situation where this happens off the top of my head. If a situation like this exists, then the third possibility is likely true. The third possibility is that the sound is artificially produced. What I mean by this is that the ships in Star Wars are equipped with speakers that simulate the sound produced by nearby ships. This actually makes a lot of sense, since sound would be a great way to let someone know what is happening outside the ship. By simulating the sound of an approaching ship, it could alert the pilot and give them basic information on the type of ship and where it is heading before they'd be able to see it. If they're busy, simply showing this on a display wouldn't be very helpful. If you think about it, there's really not much more evidence that sound travels through space than there is that the music is actually playing in universe, or that the title crawls are actually floating through space. The fact that we, the audience, can hear it doesn't really mean much. If you take into account the sound of stars, there's actually more evidence against there being sound in space. The idea that the sound is artificially simulated in universe is my favorite explanation. It just makes a lot of sense to me, and it would also account for any possible situations where a character hears a sound they otherwise wouldn't be able to. So what do you think? I'd like to hear your opinions, and also any evidence you might have to support one of these possibilities. As always, if you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for future content. Thanks for watching.